Sup guys, this is a mostly philosophical video. I'll be leaving one of my favorite Life 2D skins in the background on idle while I talk, so just listen along while doing something else, you won't be missing much. Shout out to Mimosa Sensei for this particular masterpiece. The topic I want to discuss is how I'm still enjoying the game, even over 6 years since I started. The secret, I believe, is that I'm not in it for the gameplay, although I do enjoy that as well. Contrary to what some people may believe, I actually do not care about min-maxing at all in this game. And I'm about to say something very controversial. The gameplay in Azur Lane is not its focus, and it's neither particularly difficult or complex. But none of that takes away from my enjoyment of it. I started this game because of the designs of the girls and how easy it was to obtain them all. As long as that continues, I will likely continue playing the game. At some point, the developers also decided that half the skins should be feet focused, and that was the exact point I became fully strapped in. Now, I understand why some people may get the wrong idea and think that I'm all about min-maxing and optimization, but in reality, that might be closer to the opposite. In my own day-to-day gameplay, there are a lot of things that I leave on the table. For example, I often don't put ships to level in my Operation Siren mobbing fleet or exercise fleet, where a lot of EXP is wasted. I'm vaguely aware that farming the normal stages of events with a super budget fleet is more efficient for event points than farming D3, but I just do D3 anyway. I also pretty much exclusively farm 12.4 and 13.4, even though 11.1 might be better for experience, and chapters 14 and 15 may be better for cog chips and augment material. There may even be other methods of obtaining resources that I'm not even aware of. And then there's also the way that I spend my resources. I have upgraded to plus 13 some less than ideal equipment like John Bart's gun. And I've also uncapped ships like all the starters, Janus, Longwu, and Bremerton to 125, among others. What I'm trying to say is, don't be afraid to have some fun and make some mistakes. And I also want to say something outright, for those who might have the wrong idea. None of my fleet compositions are min-maxed. Silly things like not having maxed every single fleet tech, like anti-submarine warfare aside, I always construct my fleet to meet a certain goal and no further. For example, maybe I want to one-shot a meta boss, or I want to do it on auto consistently for dailies to be less of a chore, or maybe to farm a ship drop like Houston 2 from 15.4. While all of these goals require a bit of thinking, none of them require min-maxing. Even going back as far as Ark Royal and Helena Meta, where the power level of the game was not at a point where they were trivial fights. I was using gimped loadouts with autoloaders, and even a level 112 Aurora to one-shot Helena Meta. And for my campaign fleets, none of them are the literal best available option. Oftentimes it's just what I feel like using. Don't get the wrong idea though. I am not saying that the content is easy, and I'm not trying to prove a point or show off by using the weakest fleet possible. I'm just sharing what is possible and works that I happen to come across in my little experiments. There are fleets that are meant to be reliable on auto search, but those are built to meet the goal of clearing the stage, not optimization. What I really want people to get from them is the ability to see them and think, oh, I didn't realize that this will work here. In that case, maybe this other idea could too. Let me try it out. As long as I can accomplish these little arbitrary goals that I come up with, I'm satisfied, and then I share my process and results since it can be interesting for other players to see what is possible that they otherwise not have been aware of. At least for me, that is the content that I would like to see. Things that work and also inspire other ideas. I also don't think I ever claimed any of my setups to be the best. At most, the best that I found, or the best that I'm aware of. I could go back right now and probably improve every single fleet I ever created in some way. I probably used Black Shell and High Performance Fire Control Radar when the White Shell was better, or Stag when the Twin 134 was better. Or the way that I adjusted my airstrike cooldowns did not result in the optimal damage output. I encourage everyone who is searching for an optimal fleet to consider the decisions of why I chose certain equipment and experiment rather than just copying my setups directly. I believe in you that you can do even better. And not only my setups, but any other setup you come across. There is also the Pointless Min-Maxing series, among other content, where I dive a little deeper into comparing ships and equipment backed by some data. But I did add the pointless for a reason, and even that is not true min-maxing. True min-maxing are things like EX ranking and fleet power. In EX mode, if you have everything the exact same as another player and finish the battle at the same time, except your White Shell is +8, but theirs is +7, they will be the winner. This is the real min-maxing, and it takes a lot of time and dedication. There was a time where I actually did consider giving EX a go, but I realized after retrying the same stage for a few hours that there is no joy in doing something that has no end. Imagine you get a score after 5 hours of trying with a +10 auxiliary, and then someone comes along and does it with a +9 auxiliary, and now you gotta do it all over again with a +8. It's just not for me. I'm just curious about the mechanics of the game, not to the level where I will analyze the code to understand exactly how the game runs, but just enough to investigate the silly little questions that come up. Like, what is more important between the spread and angle of heavy cruiser guns? Or if speed affects DPS in some real way, and things like that. How deeply I investigate is based solely on my interest in the topic though, and sometimes the sample size might be 1 or 2, and other times it could be up to 50. I stop when I feel like I'm satisfied with the results, which might not necessarily be up to everyone's standards, but my methods are there for everyone to see, so you can by all means repeat the experiments if you're not satisfied. Although I'm not the most invested in the gameplay of Azur Lane, I do hope that I can help to elevate the overall level of discourse on it, because what I see on a regular basis is a little disappointing. Even if it's not min-maxing, I think there should be little concepts and ideas that you can take away from my videos that will help you in whatever your gameplay endeavor is. Whether it's just making your dailies a little easier, or in search of the so-called optimal fleet if it exists. I do the best that I can to communicate concepts in a simplistic manner, and I hope that it is having the intended effect. And also a final word of warning. Just because I'm not obsessed with optimization does not mean that any self-proclaimed Johnny Min-Maxer knows anything about the game. Try not to be misled by dishonest actors on the internet. Always test things for yourself and use that to inform your opinion. Oh yeah, while I was going on a tangent about min-maxing, I forgot about one other thing that keeps me from burning out. And that is other hobbies. I just do my dailies, which don't take all that much time, and then go and do other stuff after. That's a big part of it that I should probably mention. There are a lot of things to do out there in the world, so take a break once in a while to reset your motivation. Ultimately though, if you aren't in it for the cute girls, you might just be playing the wrong game. And with that, thank you for listening, and see you in the next one.